In this video, we're going to take a look at some measures of center. However, before we get into that, let's talk about two types of statistics. We have descriptive statistics. That's what we will talk about here and in the next couple videos. Descriptive statistics. And we also have inferential statistics. So descriptive statistics, they describe characteristics of data. Right? So this is the middle of the data set, or this is how much our data set is spread out, how much it varies. So that's descriptive statistics. Inferential statistics, those are statistics where we use often things about like a sample to try to make an inference about a population or something along those lines. So we are making inferences or generalizations about a population with inferential statistics. With our descriptive statistics, let's first talk about measures of center. So what is a measure of center? So a measure of center is simply a value at the middle of a data set. We have a lot of different measures of center that we have probably encountered in the past. One measure of center is the arithmetic mean, which we might just call the mean. This is found by adding all the data values together and then divide by the total. Right? So notationally, we would say it's the sum of x. Right? That means the sum of that Greek letter sigma means sum of, add up. So we add all the x values together and we divide by a little n, which is the number of data values. We use a Greek letter mu to represent a population mean. And we use an x with a bar over it to represent a sample mean. So if we have information just from a subset of the population, we use an x bar. For the entire population, we use something like mu. That is one measure of center, the mean. Some people might refer to it as an average. In statistics, we might avoid that word because we have lots of different measures of center, which we feel like is an average. But this is the word most commonly associated with the word average. The median is another measure of center. Here we put all of the data values in increasing order, and then you find the middle value. If you have an odd number of values, so let's say we have 3 values, 1, 2, 3. The second one is the one value that's in the middle. And so that is your median. If you have an even number of data values, 1, 2, 3, 4, then you have 2 values that are in the middle. And so you would add those 2 values together and divide by 2. You take the mean of those 2 values, add them up, and divide by 2. So we have the mean, we have the median, and the mode. The mode is the value or values that occur with the greatest frequency. So if you have 2 different values that occur the most, and so maybe they occur 27 times. So you have 2 values that occur 27 times. Both of those would be considered modes. If all of the data values in your data set occur the same number of times, then we would say that there is no mode. We wouldn't say the entire data set is a mode. There's no values occurring more frequently than other values. And then we also have the midrange. So the midrange, here you just take the maximum data value plus the minimum data value, and divide that by 2. Right, so you're just taking the mean of the maximum and minimum. All right, let's take a look at some pros and cons of each of these 4 different measures of center. For the mean, one pro is that it takes all precise data values into account. Right, so every single data value is having an impact on the mean, and the value of that data value is having an impact. This is also a worthwhile thing because it has less variation. Has less variation than other measures of center. However, one negative for a mean is it is sensitive to outliers. So if you have one value that is way away from everything else, then all of a sudden that can make the mean look a whole lot different. Right? So if we consider everyone that watches this video, there's some mean income that each person has, and or some mean net worth that each person has. If Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, decided to watch this video, whatever that mean net worth was before he watched the video as well, his net worth, which is in the hundreds of billions of dollars, that would make the mean be a lot higher. And so it's sensitive to outliers. The median, not sensitive to outliers. However, it takes locations of values into account, but it does not take the precise data values into account. Right? It takes 1 or 2 precise data values, the 1 or 2 that are right in the middle, but it takes locations into account instead of the actual values into account. The mode, this is worthwhile. One of the benefits of the mode is it can be used for qualitative data. Right? If you were looking at class rank, freshman, sophomore, junior, or senior, what class a student is in, and you wanted to know what is the kind of middle or average class, well, you could say, I don't know what you mean by average class. I can say, here's the class that shows up the most. There are more freshmen than any of the other 3 classes. Right? So the measures of center, for qualitative data, a mode can be used. It's not really used for quantitative data. The midrange, this is a measure of center that's not really used, but it is easy to compute. It's also sometimes used incorrectly as the median, and so when we define it, it helps to separate it for many people. One of the big negatives to this is it only takes the 2 extreme data values into account. Right? So the absolute largest value and the absolute smallest values, those are the only 2 values that are going to have an impact on this number, on this measure of center. So those are 4 measures of center with some pros and cons of each of them. Next time we'll take a look at an example where we calculate these. We'll see you there.